This program is brought to you by First National Bank of Botswana. Welcome to First Issues, the platform on which entrepreneurs showcase their talents and how they are being agents of change within their respective sectors of enterprise. Ms. Thelma Seloi, as the driving force behind Dreamworld Academy, has strategically positioned education not merely as a route to employment, but as the engine of entrepreneurship and self-discovery. The Academy's model is particularly relevant for future generations of entrepreneurs because it intentionally fosters key attributes necessary for venture creation. The curriculum includes extracurricular activities such as personal development workshops, leadership lessons, and public speaking. This educational enterprise is a direct and necessary response to the profound challenges of youth unemployment. According to data from the World Bank, the youth unemployment rate in Botswana stood at 43.8% in 2024. The sobering figures underscore a need to cultivate a mindset of job creation over job seeking. Our conversation with Ms. Thelma is simply to find out more about her passion to solve for these challenges through her own entrepreneurship journey and perhaps how she sees it all coming together.
Thank you so much for having me. Dreamworld Academy started basically from my story because when I finished my Form 5, I didn't do well to qualify for my course. So I ended up choosing a course that I didn't want because that's what I qualified for. So from that, when I finished my course that I was doing, I did a module that is called entrepreneurship. That is when I discovered that, okay, I can be a businesswoman and my passion in business. So immediately when I finished at varsity, I went into tuition industry as a tutor. That is when I discovered, oh, this thing you can help a student to rewrite again and pursue their career path. That is when now I ended up being dedicated now to say that what I have failed before, I'm going to help other students to make sure that they correct their mistakes and then qualify for what they want to do instead of choosing what is close.
What was the greatest risk you took when you were setting up your enterprise, and what would you say the rewards to taking that leap were?
Starting a business on its own is a risk. So I can say that the greatest risk is starting a business in this country in an economy that is sometimes you know that, okay, I'm running a business, but there's nothing that is coming from the business. Even when something is coming, I'm talking about the finances. You find that you are not able to cover all your expenses, the running cost of the business. But now you still have to do the business and to keep on carrying it on. So that is the biggest risk on its own, to start a business and manage other people.
What experience did you go through that showed you that entrepreneurship is not what people made it out to be? And I think people believe that entrepreneurship is glamorous, that it is something that will make you instantaneously successful, and that you'll have your own boss, so that now you have all of the time in the world. So what is something that made you see, this is not what this is?
Entrepreneurship on its own, I learned that it's a roller coaster. It's not all those glamour that people say, because basically when people talk about entrepreneurship, they talk about the success stories only. So now being in business, I've realized that, but when you are in business, there's a lot that you face. Like I said earlier on, the issues of finances when you are running business, and then some issues like employee turnover, because when you are having less funds, you find that sometimes you pay your employees late, some they go, so having to navigate that and make sure that you stabilize a business on its own is a challenge. So at the end, I ended up learning that, you know what, this is not what people portrayed as to be. But what keeps on moving is the desire to make a difference in the society without even fighting for success overnight.
From all of that though, what is a great key takeaway for you about yourself about just entrepreneurship as a whole and about, the people who are also on their entrepreneurship journeys?
Entrepreneurship has taught me that as a person, you have to show up for yourself. When you run a business, you don't just say that because I have employees, I have this and that, I can just be there and the business will run on its own. You need to show up every day in your business, make sure that you monitor everything, all the day-to-day activities, so that this business can be a success. And another thing that I've learned is that when you are in business, always consider to keep your employees first. Learn them, understand them, know their needs, and put their welfare first so that your business can be taken care of.
So in the end, Ms. Thelma, what are your hopes and dreams for Dreamworld Academy?
My hopes and my dreams is for me to end up having an institution here in Dreamworld Academy whereby I'll be able now to get these kids not just to do Form 1 to Form 5 with us, but once they discover their dreams with us, we have a hub that can help them to learn and to take their career paths through our academy instead of going to other universities. We are still having around 51 employees and we are serving around 350 students. So the dream for Dreamworld Academy is to see us growing, having to create employment for more people, serving more students, and end up having an institution that can help them to pursue their career path with us instead of going to other universities.
Ultimately, the work exemplified by Ms. Thelma Seloi serves as a reminder that every contribution towards enterprising, resilient, forward-thinking citizens builds a foundation towards a more economically sustainable future for everyone. And with that, we will see you shortly after commercials.
Madi a mantsi a tsa re ke go a deposita mara
go motlhofo jaanong go bona ditirelo tsa go banka gaufi le kwa o leng teng kwa FNB Cash Plus Agent. Rurifatsa gore o tshwere o mang kgotsa ID fa o kopa thuso. Se se botlhokwa ke go netefatsa fa seo se bankang se sireletsegile. O ka neela Cash Plus Agent madi fa o setse o rurifaditswe. Agent o tla bala a go rurifaletse gore ke bokae. Go tswe foo o tla go romela PIN go rurifatsa account ya gago. Jaanong o ka kwala maina a gago ebe o feditse. Go motlhofo ebile go sireletsegile.
Welcome back to First Issues, where we are now in the second segment of the program, where we discuss challenges that entrepreneurs run into on their journeys. Our conversation with founder of These Hands Global Social and Sustainable Enterprises, Thabiso Mashaba, continues. This is a social enterprise that focuses on co-creation, skills transfer, and capacity building by helping innovators in underserved settlements organically develop solutions relevant to their communities. They've helped over 5,000 community entrepreneurs come up with organic washing powder from indigenous plants, hand maize shelling machines, transfer brick molding skills, and many others. Today's conversation with Thabiso aims to know of the challenges they face as an organization. Thabiso, is there a noteworthy struggle within what you do that upon further inspection, some people might feel it's not worth it to continue, but in spite of it, you still want to achieve the mandate that you've set forth with These Hands?
The biggest challenge, obviously, is usually the resources, the funding. But that's a song that is, everybody sings that song. So we decided to remix it and not really focus too much on it. Because, like I said, if you immerse yourselves in communities, you tend to realize even that Sometimes you don't actually need money to address these entire challenges that the communities are faced with. Sometimes you just need to bring people together and to use locally available material and come up with a simple solution using that. And then that's when you can start building it towards commercial value. So the biggest challenge for us is largely because we compete with government. We are serving the same cohort of people, so people at the last line, last mile. So they usually are dependent on government for giving them social protection, social welfare programs. So if you are bringing something that does not align to that, so something that is not charitable, something that is not free, then chances of you engaging properly with them is a big, big struggle.
When you look at struggles that you as an organization is facing and the struggles that the communities that you're helping are facing, what do you think there then is the common ground that can help those who are coming behind trying to help these communities, right, take cognizance of and switch up the approach so that the help is received productively?
Sure, digital and AI and all of the likes are good trends, but we also need to appreciate the development journey that Botswana has been in. Currently, we're at second development transition, moving to third transition. So we're moving from where we used to be mineral resource based and dependent to knowledge based. We are still in the transition, but we want to rush to try and implement fourth industrial revolution solutions, which is not wrong. We can still do that, but what we need to prioritize is setting in place the right things, especially for those at the grassroots, so that they are able to catch up with the rest of the economy. Because ever since 1976, when the diamond boom took off in Botswana, most of the people were left behind by the economy. So many people live within the Botswana economy, but do not benefit greater deals out of the Botswana economy. That's why we have a high income disparity, and we're the third and most unequal country in the world, because we're largely moving with where the economy is going, but our human development and our, diversification efforts are very, 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 very slim.
Tabi, so if you had a do-over, knowing what you know now about this path that you have so consciously decided to pursue, would you still go after it? Would you still decide to do what you're doing today?
Yeah, I think with me, there were only two career paths that I was thinking about based on what I was burning inside me. So what was always burning inside me was, how do we support communities better? So it was either I was going to go the politics way, which I'm kind of happy I didn't go, or go this development pathway where I'll probably work for United Nations and the likes. But I'm happy I also didn't go that pathway, because where I find myself is at a place where I find myself in between the lens of the United Nations and the lens of governments. So they both carry what I would say a top-down approach, genuine as it is, but I carry what I call a bottom-up approach. For me, I feel like I would have probably chosen this pathway still either way of working and serving people.
Tabi, so thank you once again for coming on First Issues, affording us your time, but let us end that conversation here. Before that, what is it that you are most proud of working with these hands?
The greatest success that I have seen is us being able to transfer or replicate every little thing that we did in Botswana and mastered in Botswana to other Southern African countries, but more importantly, to here in New Zealand, where I currently stay, because typically we, as Africans, we are used to receiving solutions and interventions from abroad.
Yes.
Well, in this case, we are selling and exporting a solution from Africa to abroad. And I was literally headhunted by the New Zealand government and brought here because of the interventions that I had done in Botswana, and asked to work with the indigenous people here in New Zealand and scale them up to see how they could impact New Zealand, but also grow from New Zealand as a base camp of innovation to the rest of the world. And so from New Zealand, we'll be going to Eastern Europe, from Eastern Europe, Mediterranean, and other parts of the world where interventions like ours are needed. And they are not only needed in developing countries, by the way. Even in developed countries, there's disparities within how people live, and our interventions that allow people to own their development pathways have gone a long way.
Thabiso Mashaba and his team at These Hands continue to exemplify the importance of patience, perseverance, and resolve in entrepreneurship, even when things are hard and not panning out the way one may have hoped. That's all we had for you from this segment, but do stay tuned to First Issues.
Bitsa motho gore motho a leke mangwala go duela metsi.
Mama, kana male jana ha o tlhokana le go tsamela kgakala gore go duela metsi. FNB re diretse tiro motlho.
Senthe.
Ma kwa go marekisetsong a ile gore ana le tshwala FNB Cash Plus. Se se tlhokanyela ke o mang wa gago mo tirisong le reference number e bong dinomoro tse diriswang go rurihatsa dituelo tsa gago.
FNB what?
FNB Cash Plus.
Madonna makante ke monto samplele ka mananeo a FNB ya Cash Plus.
La, ha re le nna ke gone go utlwang ka dona. Ebile ke be ke sa dumele.
Deposit cash and coins, withdraw from e-wallet, make cardless cash withdrawals, buy prepaid airtime and electricity, pay bills such as water, electricity, and many more.
FNB. Dona. Nyawa ene ke ra sa thare. Mpare mo tiki. Na ke ra go motho go thoela mamarapedi. O tola skontere hela. O bua go se mousung wa go duela se mousung. Manane wa FNB Cash Plus.
Welcome back to First Issues. SMEs face a plethora of hardships in their effort to become impactful economic players, with the biggest one of those being a lack of access to credit. Funding is a bedrock of any thriving enterprise because it ensures sustained working capital, investment in growth opportunities, and that the overall financial health of the company is safeguarded. Needless to mention, this has proven a challenge for most entrepreneurs as they do not generate the kind of revenue that qualifies them for credit from such financiers as banks. Further to this, they do not have the type of financial records that much larger entities have, and so they are considered high risk. So what do? This is where scored credit comes in, a solution meant for such circumstances. We unpack this product with senior credit analyst Tepiso Masare.
So this is basically a financing solution. It's based off one's account conduct, or we call it behavioral conduct, right? Accounting, do you honor your debit orders on time with other financing institutions or other retail credit facilities that you have out there, your insurance installment and such. So then with that, we are able to score you and say, from the model, this is how much you qualify for. Right? This was created as a cry from Botswana just to say we want fast and easy access to funds. What can you then bring to us or solution for us? So this was basically there to say, Nyame, we've got a quicker way, financial say. The only two things say resolution and tax clearance. I get to that. And underscored credit, we've then got maximum funding under it of 500, that speaks to both 500,000 pula, that speaks to both an overdraft facility and a term loan facility put together. Either or, I get or both, but my thing accordingly. And then you can also have access to West Bank finance also to a tune of 1 million under this facility. And then also what we call smart spender. Credit card they earn or they're turning over less than 1 million annually. So tota re lebeletse batswana botlhe dikgwebo potana tsotlhe wa saying we're here to help you. How can we help your business grow?
I don't know if you have answered my next question, but maybe as a matter of reiteration, you could, elaborate further on who qualifies for this product and how can they access it?
Basically, one needs to be banking the First National Bank, right? And they need to be banking with us or having banked with us for over 12 months. This gives an opportunity for proper assessment to be done, to see also when the model is calculating affordability that you are able to afford what the system is going to offer you. So yes, you need to have been banking with us for more than 12 months, have an account with us. That's really just about it. And like I said, if your turnover is less than 1 million, we've got you covered. There is a smart spender credit card facility that can help boost your cash flow. That goes to a maximum of 50,000 pula to help your business grow. And those that turn over 1 million can then afford your West Bank facilities, your overdrafts, and term loan. And I think it's very important that I add that this product or solution rather is not for startups. In that, like I said, you need to have been running or operating for over 12 months. This also gives a view of whether you can afford or not, which at the end of the day is our bottom line. We don't want to overly commit you to something that you cannot pay, right? And the ability to pay is both your benefit and ours.
In the end, there is no problem that does not have a solution. All you need to do as an entrepreneur is approach the right service providers and industry experts. We've come to the end of tonight's episode. Till next time, good night. This program was proudly brought to you by First National Bank of Botswana.